All right, so welcome everyone. I hope everyone could hear me. I hope I'm live and you could hear my audio. Welcome to this month's live stream in MERN Stack development. We're going to be doing MERN Stack. Last month we've done React, an introductory session, and I'm excited to start this one out. I could see that there's some people over here. We got some people with experience. My name is Gabriel, and I am an Italian living in London. Okay, I'm a full stack developer. Awesome. And we got Junaid from Pakistan. We got a MERN stack from there. We got United States. John, he's also have some experience with MERN stack. Okay, and we also have a person from Turkey. Great. You can always leave your comments down. I'm actually gonna send just one quick email to those people who have RSVP'd the event on Codecademy so that they could get notified, and after that we could just get started. So you could let me know anything you know about MERN stack. Why is it like something that you prefer and all that. So I'm just gonna go community.codecademy.com and go to the dashboard. There's this event that everyone had checked in. So I'm just gonna send an email to everyone. Let me know if the audio is fine, if there's any issues with it. So yeah, so we're gonna say we are live. Just gonna throw in the link. Okay, and I'm just gonna share my link. This is the link to the live stream. If you have anyone else that you liked them seeing the live stream link, this is the link. You could share it to your friends.
Are you a Fiverr freelancer? And
okay, so just gonna paste it here. We are live. Audience is the people with the virtual event ticket, and this is the event. The MERN stack, create a CRUD book app, and I guess we're gonna have to send it immediately. Perfect, awesome. So now we send our email, and now let's get started. Okay, so this event is going to be about a MERN stack simple application that we're going to be creating. So I have an image I would like to show you. The backend is actually going to be made in Node.js, Express, and MongoDB, and the front end is going to be through two frameworks. We have Vite and we have React.js. So don't worry, I will get your hands down. If we don't somehow cover all of this in this particular event, then we might have another one in the future. So this is just like what the ground up is, the back end and the front end. It's going to be divided into two projects. You can think of it as the back end and the front end. Okay, so there's going to be in the back end, there's going to be two like API routes. So these are like four different API endpoints that will consist. We could have the read, the create a book, the update a book. We have also the delete a book. We'll also have the feature to upload an image. So you would be able to upload an image of a new book, and then that would be read into the database, and then you could also display it. So this is how basically the application should work, and how it would be seen. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into our in our folders, and we're gonna create a new folder. So now I went to my folders and I just created a new MERN folder, and over here I'm gonna create everything. So I suggest everyone to follow me if you could, and if not, then it's totally okay. You could just watch it and then rewatch it because the recording will be available on YouTube. So over here we have the MERN folder, and inside here we could just create a new folder. I'll call it server. Okay, one is going to be the server and the other one is going to be the the client. So the client is usually the front end, the server is always the back end. So if I want to open up this in my VS Code, I would just type in cmd, and then I would just type in code dot. This would open up my folder inside of VS Code, and I'm able to start things out. So the first thing I would do is I would open up my terminal, and to do that I would do Control Shift and backtick. That would open up my terminal with a shortcut key, but the other way is to go here in the three dots, terminal, new terminal. So you could open up your terminal from there as well. So that's my terminal. I'm just gonna put my mic right here. Okay, so this is my terminal, and over here I'm gonna have to first initialize my MERN stack, okay, application. So to do this, I have to have npm already installed and everything, and I assume you have those init, and then we have -y. This means to ignore all the extra questions that would come. And now this basically created this package.json file. So you could see now there's this file that already has been created for me. Now, but I don't have anything installed in it, so don't worry. We're gonna do all of that. So what we're gonna do now is, now that we have the package.json, so I'm just gonna have to cross this out as well. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to install all of our packages that are needed for our backend. So the thing that we're gonna start is the backend. So the packages that we might need are npm I. So I means to install, and then we have course, which is one package. The other one is .env. The other one is express, and the last one is mongoose. So once you have all of this typed in, you could just press enter, and this will install all the packages for you. Okay, for a moment, I'm going to check the chats and see if you have any questions so far. Now then, I'm going to move back to my development environment. So you can see over here that we have Caesar. Okay, hello again. Oh yeah, good to see you, man. Same. We have Usmahan. Hi. And we have, my name is, I live in Ireland. Okay, I am 44% through this full stack engineering course on Codecademy. That's amazing. NodeMon. Yeah, yes, exactly. We need NodeMon. Wait, we're gonna do that 1 minute. Now that we have this installed, so we can see that we got package.json. It created a lock, and you can see the package.json file. We have you can see that the dependencies now contain course.env, express, and mongoose. Now these are the latest versions so far, and now whenever you do it, it will just give you the latest versions. And you could see that we have a node modules folder as well already created for us, which is pretty handy. Now for the one important development package that even one person brought up is NodeMon. So that is very special, and I'll tell you for a second why would we need all these cores.env and express and mongoose. But right now I'm gonna have to install the development package, which is NodeMon. So for that we have to do npm I, and we're gonna say --save -dev, and then we have NodeMon. Now NodeMon is actually pretty useful when you want to automatically restart your server every time you make a change to your project. So it automatically restarts the server for you. It's pretty amazing. So now I installed it. You can see that NodeMon is also installed, and you can see it right here. So development dependencies, we have NodeMon's version as well. So it just automatically added it for us in the package.json file. Now we have all of this created. Now we're going to have to create one important file inside of our server folder. So remember that this is our MERN, our server folder, and then we have this, all these other things. I guess I get one thing I've done wrong. Okay, I don't know why I opened this up. This is something else. This is Qt Designer for C++. And if you are, interested in creating graphical applications using, sorry, not C++, but Python. And if you're interested in creating, GUI applications, you could use Qt Designer. But we could do some event other time, maybe in the future for that. Now, one problem that I created was that the server folder I created separately, but I had to have all these files inside of that server folder. So I brought them in, and now you can see that they're actually how I need them to be. Now you can see now the server folder is over here, and then you can see that they collapse, and now they're perfectly aligned in the perfect position. After that, we actually need two really important files. Okay, so the first file that we might need, and I think we actually need, it's the .env file. .env file, and the other one is another file that we need in the server folder, and that is .gitignore. Now the environment file is where your environment variables will be, like your credentials, your username, your password, all those connection strings for your databases, all those important things that you don't want others to see. You put them in the environment folder, and the gitignore is when you push it to the GitHub repository. The repository, whenever you want to push something, it would ignore specific files, and you just state that I don't want to show the, I don't want to push the .env file contents to my repository. So I just typed in .env, and that did it for me. So that's basically what it does over there. Now I'm just gonna cross these out again, and we're gonna open up the package.json file now. So you can see that there's the package.json file. Now you can see that there is the name of the application, which is MERN, the version, the description, the index.js file. This is going to be the main file that we might create. We're going to create later on in this video. And then we have the scripts, and then we have the keywords, author, and all that. So what we have here is dependencies, but you got to look at, and we also have the developer dependencies. Now, developer dependencies, we have these course .NET, .env, Express, and Mongoose that we have already installed, and in the developer dependencies, we have NodeMon. What we got to do is modify the scripts, okay? And we got to have to add some other things. Now, we put a comma here, and we're going to do the following. We're going to have these square brackets, and we're going to say start. And inside here, I'm going to add in node, and then we have index.js, okay? So this is how it's going to start up when we run our application. We want node index.js file to run. This is basically the brain of our application. It's going to be in the index.js file. And the other one, when we're developing in in a local host, would have developer mode on, and that is particularly useful when we have NodeMon. So NodeMon, and we're going to say index.js. Okay, so in developer mode, would have NodeMon automatically running this file for us. So we have had all this added. Now we could finally just close this file out. Okay, so far I'm just gonna go and see if there's any questions. So hi, what was the first command line you ran for npm? Okay, npm I course. Yeah, for this Sarah, we just added all the developer packages, those packages that we needed for our application. So there's like course.env, express, mongoose. Each of them have their own use case, so they're going to be different for each use case, and I'm going to be discussing them all throughout this entire live stream. So we're done with that. Now what we're going to do, actually even before this, I actually did one more command, and that command was actually npm init-y, and this was the one that created the package .json file for me, the file that you could see right here, this one. And then it ignored all those extra questions with the -y. Okay, now what we're gonna do now is that we're gonna create our file that we need. So I'm just gonna go inside our server again, click on this file icon, and we're gonna say index.js file. So for the index.js file, we will need the following. So the first thing what I would require is the .env config file, which will contain all of my credentials. So what we're going to say is require, and we're going to say .env, and we're going to say .configuration. Okay, so this is just going to give us this will contain our MongoDB connection string configuration, all of it. We're going to do it in a second, but we just had to make sure that we required it before. The next thing that we would do is we're going to create course, and we're going to require that from the course package as well. So it's going to say course is required, so we're going to put it in a variable called course. Course again is cross origin resource sharing, and this allows us to fetch the data from our application, so both our front end and our back end can communicate properly. So that's why we need course. The next thing that we would need is express. So again, we'll do require and would say express, and we put it in a variable, so we'd say express like that. So that's how we got our express. This is very useful to start our server, and it will save us a lot of time. So it's used for starting up our server. Again, now we're gonna actually create the express application. To create the express application, you just instantiate it like this, and I would put in a variable called app. So this is our application that we created. So if you hover over it, you could see it creates an express application. The express function is a top level function exported by the express module. So it created our express application for us. Now for the port number, you would need which port to specify where your application will be running. So I would say const port in capital letters, and I'm going to say process.environment.port. Okay, it's going to be usually the common port, or it's let's say 8000. It's going to be depending on whatever the convention is, and also you could give an example of, let's say, 8000. And that's how our port is going to be specified. Now, the next thing that we might do right after this is, the get method. So we'd say app.get. Now, since this app is our application, we're going to say get the forward slash. So we're going to give a forward slash, and we're going to say comma, and we're going to put in the request and response in the parameters. And we're going to give the arrow function. And inside of this, what we're going to do is response.json, and we're going to say hello there. Okay. So this is our response, and we're going to make sure that we see this on our, end. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to run this. To run this application, you're going to go in these, this 3 lines over here, and you're going to open up your terminal again. Again, you could just, it's just going to open up a new terminal for you. But to go into the old terminal, you could just type in the command Control Shift and backtick, and this should, it does open the new terminal. I would go back to my old terminal, which is right here, and you're going to run the following command to run your index.js file. So the following command, since why we modified our package.json where we changed the script, now we're going to just have to type in the following command, and the following command is npm run dev, and this should run our application. So it says a complete log of this cannot be run, so there should be some issue related to this. Okay, the reason why it cannot be run is that we're in the MERN. We have to go inside of our server folder. So we're going to do cd server. Now we're inside the server, and we can now say npm run dev. Okay, so now you can see that our MERN project is running. NodeMon ran the index.json JS file, and you could see clean exit. So starting NodeMon, and it should run the application. Now I just have to visit the localhost port 8000 to see our changes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up a browser, and I'm just gonna go to localhost. So localhost colon port 8000. Wait a minute. So I just have to check the the address of it. Yeah. So it's, I'm just gonna open it up here. So -y is what I needed. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So localhost, we're gonna go up here, back here. So localhost, this is my old stuff, so I don't recommend checking that out. It's just my React application. So localhost port 8000, and here we're just gonna press enter. Okay, now it says over here that it cannot reach it. And the reason for this is gonna be something related to the API. So we're gonna restart and check why this issue occurred. Okay, so let's just quickly add in one more thing in the index.js file. And I believe that's why it's not running it. So I'm gonna add in app.listen. Yes, we have to add this following thing. So we're gonna have to listen to our app, and we're gonna say the port, which is the port that we specified, 8000 or anything, and we're gonna say this following function. So it's the arrow function here again, and we're gonna console.log, and we're gonna give some backticks. So this one, and we're saying server is running on port, and we'll give the following syntax to write the code. So basically it's $$ and squiggly brackets, and you could just simply put in your port. So port we basically defined here, and I was able to write it in here because of this string template literal thing. This is the syntax, it's backticks. So this could change it up, and you're allowed to, make sure to just add in the semicolons. Now you can see server is running on port 8000. This seems to work. If I go back to where my localhost port 8000 was, and now you can see that it says hello there. So that means it's listening to our request, and it gave us a response. Okay, and that response was hello there. So far, any questions? I'm just gonna stop for a moment and see if you have any questions before we move on. Any questions, man? Hello, is the event video saved afterwards? Yes, it is. The PC. Yeah, it's actually a gaming PC. I made it like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I got all different components. So this video, I mean, this recording will be available to everyone on the Coding Cleverly channel, so you could check it out as many times as you would like. And I guess no one has any questions so far, so we're just gonna move on forward. So right now you could see that the application ran on this local host. You can see that it's there. We're gonna move on to the next part of this. We also have to give a counter case. So suppose if I gave, you know, some other, let's say I gave a slash heat. Okay, now it says cannot get heat. It's just gonna give us some problem. If I say hi, it says cannot get hi. So I want to, you know, give a case for this. I want to try to fix this. So anything else would be like a 404 or anything like that. So I could put that, you know, right here where we have app.get. I'm just gonna copy this and I'm just gonna, you know, add this over here, app.get. And if we ever get anything else, so we put it with asterisk. If we get anything else, what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw in a 404. So we're gonna say a 404, and it's not a JSON anymore. It's actually a status. So we say send status like this. Now this is gonna give us a 404 response if we go to any other, you know, site. So I'm going back to this, and if I given hi now, it says not found. Okay, and if I give anything else, you know, let's say MERN, it says not found. But if I go back to my original place, it says hello there. So just a, you know, a small thing to add. Okay, so now we're done with this. We're gonna move on to our next phase, and the next phase is to create our MongoDB instance and, you know, create the database. So I'm gonna add in the database, but before all of that, I'll have to add in some middleware. So that's very important. So I'm just gonna add in the middleware over here. Middleware for our application. MIDDLEWARE. So the first thing that we're gonna be using is we're gonna say app. So our application, you know, Express application is gonna be using course. So course out like that. Okay, so the next thing that app will be using is the express.url encoded, I saw it, encoded, and inside of this would have these squiggly brackets and would say extended :true. And the other thing that this app will be using is app.use and express.json. Okay, so these are so far what the middleware will be composed of. We might add something else later on, but right now these are just you know, that what we need. Other than that, I guess we're fine and we are good to go. So the next thing I would like to add is, you know, create the database instance. I hope everyone got this cleared, and now we're gonna go and, you know, try to create a database instance for it. So I'm just gonna create a new database, and I'm gonna go to my account. So I'm going to my own personal account, and we're gonna go to mongodb.com, and of course I'm gonna have to log in. Okay, so I'm gonna sign in. Make sure if you don't have an account, you create one, and then put your email address. So, and then put your password. And once you, you're gonna have to pass this as well. Okay, so I'm gonna log in. Great. So this is my MongoDB dashboard. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a new database from here. So you see this arrow, we have project 0 MERN_1. You could create your new project here. So you could just add in a new project. and you could call it anything you want. So what we'll call it is book app. Okay, I'll call it book app. So I'll just call it book. Let's call it book. Okay, so book, and we're gonna go next. Now you can see that our project name was book. Add members and set permissions, and we just consider ourselves as the owner. So we're just gonna consider our own email address, project owner, create project. Now this should create a project for us, and it says database deployments. What we need is creating a database. So we build a database. Now it gives us deploy your database. It would give us options like M10 serverless or M0. We'll get the M0 free version, and it gives us a storage of 512 MB, a shared RAM, and a shared CPU. We'll provide providers AWS. Keep it as recommended region. You can name your you cannot change the name once the cluster is created. So just create the name of the cluster. I'll change it as I'll just keep it as cluster 0, and I'll just click on create. Now over here it says security is quick start. How would you like to authenticate your connection? We would have username and password. So this is my username. This is a randomly generated password. Now again, I'm going to be changing this after this event, so don't think that I don't know about this. You could also auto generate again, so it's just going to auto generate another password for you, but I'm just going to use whatever they provide me, and I'm just going to save them. So what I'm going to do is, you could have changed the username as well, but I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to go to my .env file. So remember this env file. I'm just going to make some space over here. This is my username, and I'm going to add in my password too. So this is the password. I'm just going to copy this, and I'm just going to paste this password here. Now we have both of these things. But actually, what we're going to do later on is something else. So my local environment or cloud environment. So we're going to keep it in my local environment. And over here it says only an IP address you add to your access list will be able to connect to your project's clusters. So I add my current IP address. I'm just going to click on this, and it just added my current IP address. So once we have done this, we would have to just finish and close this. So we have to create user, and that is created as well. And now we could finish and close. So it says over here, congratulations on setting up your access rules. We're done with that. We could go to the databases. So now we've created our database, which is named as book. And it should, run around. So over here in the database access, you could see that there is me. I'm allowed to access it. And then in the network access, you could see that I'm allowed in there as well. For the moment, what I would recommend is just keeping it similar and just allowing everyone to access it, because I had one more, which is MERN_1. And in my MERN_1, what I did was database access. It's still my own. And in the network access, it includes all your current IP address. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing for this book project as well. So for network access, I'm going to include this one. So I'm just going to say add IP address and allow access from anywhere for this network access. So I'm just going to do this. It's going to give 0.0.0.0/0. I'm going to confirm this, and this is going to be allowed. Of course, I'm going to now, if everyone's allowed, I'm just going to delete this current IP. So I'm just going to make sure that I deleted that one, and this should do that thing for me, and now it's active. Great. So now that we've done that, we would like to add in some data. But before all of this, I would like to connect it with my application. So for that, I would go to the database, and you can see that there's this connect button. So I connect on it, and you can see connect to cluster 0. What you do is it gives you some options like connect to your application drivers, access your data through tools, Compass, Shell, MongoDB for VS Code, and Atlas SQL. I'm going to use MongoDB for VS Code, work with your data in MongoDB directly with your VS Code environment. And this gives us this setup to allow us to do this. I'm just going to connect my connection string. I'm just going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste it right here in my .env. So this is my connection string. And what we're going to do is, so I'm just going to go in my connection string, and you can see over here, my username is this, and my password is this. For the password, I'm just going to get this, and I'm just going to, instead of this whole thing, with the angle brackets as well, I'm just going to delete that, and I'm going to paste that password in. And I'm going to have to delete this too, because I don't need this all. And now I could just type this in as Mongo, M-O-N-G-O, MongoDB underscore URI, and equals to this. This is my connection string. And the end, I could just add in books, which was going to be name of my repository. I mean, sorry, the name of my database. So the name of this, book over here is actually the name of my project. This one, what I read. But what I did over here, /books, is going to be creating a database, which is going to be called books. Okay. So this is my MongoDB URI, and I want to allow my, computer to use my application to use this and allow me to connect with this. So for that, I would have to create a new file. Okay. So that new file is going to be called connectdb. So I'm going to create a new file called connectdb. I'm going to go here. So just 1 second. I'm going to remove that. Okay, inside of this server folder, we're going to create a new file. And this is going to be called connectdb.js. Okay, so now connectdb.js is created. We're going to use Mongoose now. So require Mongoose. Remember that Mongoose we installed? We're going to use that Mongoose. And we're just going to put in a variable like that. And once we've created that, we're going to have to create something else. And I'm going to create an asynchronous function. And that's going to be used to connect to my database. So I'm going to say const connect db, and it's an asynchronous function. An asynchronous function means that it's going to be running even if something, it's not like sequential, but it could if it's it could run in different ways as well. It's not in the order of sequential like top to bottom pattern, but it could stop, pause, and whenever it's completed, it could just complete. So there's no problem with it. If you want to learn more about asynchronous and synchronous, I would recommend checking out an article online. So now this is asynchronous. I put in the parameters, I gave the arrow function, and this is the body of the function. And then we'd have the semicolon. After that, before implementing that function, I would recommend exporting it. So module.exports and it equals to connect db function. So I'm allowed to export that. Okay. So now inside of this function, we'd have to define the connection style. How are we going to connect our database? So I'm going to use a try catch block. So if I type this, I could get a try catch snippet. And inside the error, catch, I would always have the error, and I'll just console.log it. So console.log error, like that. And I'll just also exit it. So process.exit with a status 1. Okay. So, but before all of that, I would recommend trying to connect to my database. So before that, I don't want Mongoose giving me so many random warnings and all that. So that strict query thing. So we're gonna say strict query, Q-U-E-R-Y, and we're gonna set that to false. So we don't want something like that occurring. Okay. And the other thing that I would like to do now is to try to connect. So I'm gonna say const connection. Okay, and that equals to an await function. Mongoose. Sorry, not await function, but await keyword, mongoose dot connect. And now we have to connect with our connection string that we created over here in the .env. So to do this, I'm not gonna just paste in this. You could do this. You could do this. You could just copy this entire connection string and paste it in that parameter over here, and connect this. But the better way to do this is actually use the variable, which is MongoDB URI, because of safety precautions. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say process.env. So this is our env file, right? Process.env, and then we're gonna say MongoDB URI. So that's it. That's how we're gonna try connecting it. And then after that, once it's connected, we're gonna give a console.log to the user that we've connected it successfully. So I'm gonna use the string template literals, and I'm gonna say database connected, and I'm gonna use the $, which is this one, and the squiggly brackets, and inside it, I'm gonna say connection dot host. So this is gonna give us the name of the connection. So now that we've wrote this code and we exported this as well, so let me just minimize this. so that you can see the whole thing. I want to use it in my index.js file. Okay, so to put that in our index.js file, we'll actually need the following. So first, we're gonna have to go up here on the top in the require, and we got this express app. But before we create the application, we're gonna do the following. We're gonna say connection, so it's a const connection connect db, and we're gonna say require equal to require, and this is gonna be dot slash connect. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why I did this. So we created a variable connectdb, and it's requiring from where? From the file connectdb, right? We exported it. So to do that, we need to know where it is located. It's actually located in the same place, in the same folder. So we could say dot /, and then we could just give the name of our file. So connectdb semicolon, and this is going to be allowed to access it. So that's basically there. And then now that we've done that, we are just gonna make sure that this would work. Okay, so I'm going to run this. Go back here and let's run this. Exit out, yes, and let's say npm run dev. So server is running on port 8000. And it's supposed to give us any kind of exception or anything if that handles. So I'm just waiting to see if that worked. Where's that code? So database connected, yeah. So that should be popping up. Just waiting until that is connected. Okay, I don't know why it's taking very long. We're gonna have to look at our database, maybe restart it. And I think it's so far it looks great over here. There's no problems with it. One thing I would recommend is when you have your code written, you could right click, and if you have Prettier installed, you could refactor it. So you just click on this button and it would refactor the code and make it look more better. So this is how it's done. So I just changed it. NodeMon restarts my server, but so far I would see that the connection string is not being connected. So I'm going to go back to my data dashboard. Over here, I'm going to check the network access, allows everyone, and database access. So I think I'm going to have to edit this and maybe allow, so I am only allowed to do this, and I will just keep it as it is. I'm going to restart this. And I just refreshed it. And I'm going to restart this application as well. So I'm just going to shut it down. And go here. Oh, yeah. For one other thing that I forgot here is, I know what I forgot. So over here in the middleware, before the middleware, we'd have to connect our DB. So to do that, I would just recommend typing in connect DB. Since we already created this instance right here, we just had to connect it before our middleware. So connect DB and then, this round bracket. And now if I run the code for npm run dev, you can see my server is running on port 8000 and my database is connected. Amazing. So now our database is connected and our port is running on 8000. So far we can't see anything over there on our application, but I have connected it with my MongoDB. So our application is able to connect it successfully. We got this part cleared, and this is already there for you. You already saw that. I'm stopping just for seeing if there's any questions, and then I'm gonna move on. Okay. I'm afraid we don't have. Oh, hey Valid, what's up? I just saw Valid. Now we have Thanks npm init -y. What is that needed? Yeah, we already told that PC is fast. Okay. Hello, bro. What's up, Waleed? That's why it is not responding. Send status is a built-in express method that prints not found if a wrong path is inserted, right? Yeah, no, actually we put in 404 inside of the send status. So inside the send status, you could see that we put in 404. If we put any kind of other status code, it would give us something else. You know, for that, it means not found. So that's why that worked. What does one in process dot exit mean? It's just a convention to put 1 or 0. So 1 means to successfully exit the program, right? You forgot require.env.config. I did add that. I added that line in the beginning. You can see over here require.env.config. This was my first line in my index.js file. Can you explain the strict query false in mongoose.set? Okay, the thing is that it's going to give you so many warnings and all that stuff. Right now, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but strict query is just like make sure that you don't give something wrong to the database, because there are cases where anomalies or any kind of wrong queries causing database SQL injection and all that stuff. So just for a safe side, you should always recommend putting on strict query as true, but I'm just doing it just for that sake, that I don't want any warnings or any nonsense showing on this terminal screen, which is just going to confuse you guys as well. So that's why I just changed it false, so that it doesn't show me any random messages. No, the database that you create is correct. The problem is the .env. There is a problem with that. So let me see the line that you're talking about. Let's see, require.env.config. I don't think so there's anything wrong, but if there's anything wrong that does exist, you could tell me. So far, I'm just gonna copy this and I'm just gonna paste it here. If there's anything wrong, then I'm just gonna change it, but right now I just wrote this. I think you imported the function connectDB but didn't call it in the index.js. Yep, exactly, that was the problem, and I've done it right now. So perfect so far. I guess we're all good on that. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have to load in some data. So to load in some data, I have some sample JSON file data, and I would recommend checking that out. So just a second, I'm gonna bring in the data that I have. So let me just quickly get that code. And it was just a data file, and so readme server. Okay, so this is the data that we might need. Okay, so I don't know why this opened up. Over here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create another file here. I don't recommend, this is not gonna do anything with the application, but this is just for the sake. So we're just gonna go here, server, and we're gonna say the data file. So that data file is actually gonna be called data.json. This is not anything to do with the application right now. I'm just showing you what it looks like. So it's just a collection of these objects. So these contain different book titles and the name of the book and all that. They're all in JSON format. So I put them in JSON format. One other thing that I would like to invite you guys to my Discord server. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the Discord server, and I'm just gonna put in this .json file so that you could get the file as well. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna make sure that you first, I'm gonna send this. Now I will send the invite, but what I'll do first is what you have to do is you have to go into the server, and you're gonna have to welcome yourself here. You're gonna have to select this button, and after that, these all channels will be included. In the useful resources, I'm sending the resource related to this package.json. No, actually it's called the data.json. So I'm just gonna copy this, the data about the books, right? So I'm just gonna add here, load a file, and we're just gonna give that file here. It's the data.json file. data related to the books. Now, once you get this, this is all the data about the books. You just download it from here. So once you do it, make sure you just react with the thumbs up so that you have it. Other than that, for those of you who do join up and introduce yourselves over here, I'm going to give away cheat sheets for free. I'm charging them, but for the first, let's say, 5 people who introduce themselves in the introduce yourself channel, I'm going to give away free cheat sheets. And my cheat sheets are a price. So I'm going to give away for free. So I'm just going to give this, let's see, server community, invite people, I guess. So, and this is the Discord server link. So here you guys go and get your, join the server as well as download that data.json file, which is related to the books. So once you have all of these data.json files, what you're going to do is you're going to add it to your MongoDB. So I'm going to copy this entire thing. I'm going to go to the dashboard. Here I could go to the database. Inside of my database, you would see that there is this browse collections button. I'm going to click on this and you can see that there's actually collections. Load a sample data set, add my own data set. Okay. Now add my own data set. Now you can see that we have visualize your data set, and other than that, load a sample data set. And it's just gonna load some sample data set. I'm just gonna go back. I think there was some other button. So click on here. Mainline tools. Maybe it was create. No, not create. So MongoDB allows you to add in some sample data set, and this is not what you're going to be requiring. It's just some random data set that it gives you, but I'm not trying to add in my own. I think it was like in the browse collections button, and maybe in that there was some a button, load a sample data set, search metrics, real-time app services. Trying to find that button. I don't know where it went. Just a second, let me go back to my old MERN_1 and see how I added that one. So over here, what we have is the database, and we have MERN_1. In this, we have the browse collections, and inside the collections, we have this collection. You can see over here, which I added, insert document. Okay, I guess it was insert document, and yeah, I was able to do that with collections. So the same thing I'm trying to do with my book project. So for the book project, I'm going to go to the database. I'm going to go to the view browse collections and insert document, collections, performance online. I think it's I don't know why it changed. Anyone know about where the button is for adding your own JSON file? I'm trying to maybe find it. I don't know where it went, because it was over there in that other file. Should be overload a sample to add my own data set. If I add in, it's just gonna require me collection name and select copied samples. Let's try this one. I thought it was like search performance advisor online archives and beeline tools. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to a database name. I'm going to call it as books, collection name. I don't know. Just call it books. And additional preferences. We don't need any of that. Create. Okay, so now it created something like that. And I'm going to insert document. Over here, you can see that there's this and this button. So I'm just going to delete this one. So I'm gonna get this and delete all of that, and I'm just gonna paste this entire thing over here. So copy this and paste all of that right here. Okay, so once we have all of that, you can see this is the thing that I shared you guys on Discord. So this is just our JSON code. Insert, and this is inserting for us. Now you can see books So we have a database, and inside we have a table, and that table's name is books, and you can see that there is these data things inside. Pretty awesome, right? Now what we want to do is we want to actually show that in our application. So for that particular thing, now what we're going to do is I'm going to go back, and we're also running out of time because this event was actually going to be for an hour, and I know there's going to be a lot of more things that I'm going to have to explain. Right now we have to build the database, then we have to build the front end with React and Vite. So I think that we might do another part 2 of this event. You guys tell me which date is okay, and you could also discuss with me in the Discord server. So remember, in the Discord server, just go in the other channels. Yeah, John, wait. So I got recorded that you're the first one. You will get the cheat sheets. So the first 5 people will get free cheat sheets, and the cheat sheet link is actually it's actually here in my links, so you could see useful resources. Actually, I think it's in the links. Yeah. So in the links, you'd see that there is the Patreon. I'd recommend for those of you who could support the channel and everything, become a Patreon. You'll get everything for free, and there's a lot of other things that are benefits. So check that Patreon page out. For that, the cheat sheets are going to be, let's see, Codecademy. Yeah, Gumroad. So it's the Gumroad page. So it's codingcleverly.com. So these are the cheat sheets. You can see that they're all charged for prices. Now I'm going to be giving away free ones to those who have introduced themselves with at least some kind of introduction, right? So with at least some kind of introduction, and they will get some coupon code to access them for free. So this is like $5. You will add your coupon code and you will get it for free. So this SQL cheat sheet you could get for free. Anyone like this data machine learning one, or this NumPy, or the DSA data structure one, whatever, and they're handwritten, so they're pretty amazing. And I would just recommend for those of you who are interested, give yourself a really good introduction for yourself. Other than that, I think we're short out of time, and we could continue with the next event. Maybe in the next event we will continue, but right now I guess we'll close out from here. So you can see over here we have books, and we have the project 0. This is my other project. Yeah, I'm just scrolling away through projects. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chats. I'm there to answer them. Feel free to write your questions in the chats. The event, you could say, is over now because of just the 1 hour frame that we had, but we will continue all of this in the next event. We might have another one scheduled, depending on the availability of me as well as you guys. So you could always discuss in the Discord server as well. So yeah. And I'm just checking out here. You could write your questions down. I'm gonna be going on there for a moment. So I'm just looking there, just looking at that. Okay. Any questions so far? You could leave them here in the chats. Anyone has questions? Okay, where are we? Okay, I guess what I was there. I'm just there just to add maybe some extra things, just trying to connect the database. So we got the data.json, we have it there, and we just want to, view the data. And to view that, we could actually have one file command. So one other function that I'm going to add here is related to, fetching the data inside the MongoDB to the user. So we're going to create a route for that. Creating a route. And the route will be called API and then books. So I'm going to say app.get Okay. And we're going to say API. So slash API slash books. Okay. And inside of this route, we're going to have another asynchronous async. And I'm just going to add in the request and response. So request and the response. This is the error function. And try to add in your try catch block here. So I'm just going to add in a try catch block, try catch block. For the catch, remember you would have console.log. And you could put in the error, or the better way is I'm just going to send a status. So response, remember that response that we have, dot send status, or status, S-T-A-S-T. And it's a 500 status dot JSON. Inside here we'd have error, and error occurred occurred OCCURED while fetching books. Okay, so that's our error. But in the try, we'll try to get the data. So to get that, what we'll do is we'll use const data is equal to an await is equal to await. Okay, await, and then we have book. Now book is actually an object. Yes. Now to get that is actually we're gonna have to create a model for that, and this is another thing that we need, a model, and we'll have to create a book.js model. So inside of our server right here, I would create another folder over here. So inside of our server, we'll create another folder, and that folder will be called models. Okay, so we'll call it models, and inside the models folder, we'll create a model. Okay, and that model will be called book. So I'm going to create a model here. It's going to be called book.js. And the model will contain the following. First, it will be using Mongoose. So we could say require Mongoose. And we could say const Mongoose. Okay. We're basically creating the schema for our book. We're getting const schema is equal to Mongoose dot schema, SCHEMA. Oh, okay, 1 minute. SCHEMA. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to define the schema. So we'll say book schema, SCHEMA, is equal to new schema, SCHEMA, and we're giving this round and this squiggly. And now what we're going to do is for the title, we're going to give the type as a string, and the required field is true. So we're supposed to give a title for our book. Okay. And for those of you who want to leave, you could leave, but you could just stick around if you want to view a little more of this. So I'm just adding in the schema for the database, as well as then trying to view my contents. So my slug will be a string. Slug field, you'll see later on what it is, and you would see that I would actually need one other thing. So slug, after that we would need the description of the book, and the description is also a type of string, and then would need the stars, and the stars means the ranking of the book. So have the type as a number. And then we'd have category. Category means like which category it exists. Now categories could be a bunch of elements. You could, I'm going to show you how a category actually would look like. So inside of our, remember that JSON file? So inside of this, you could see that the category is actually an array of data. So we'd have romance and science, crime and food, right? So it's actually an array. So what we put is would type and it would say array. So array like that. Okay. Now I'm there, and we're just gonna add the last thing, and that is created at. And the type for this is a date, and the default for this is when you don't specify it, it's just gonna give by now. Okay, JavaScript now. And now that's the last one, and this is our schema defined. Now the last thing that we'll do is we'll export the schema. So we'd say module dot exports is equal to mongoose dot model, and then we'll have book, okay, is the model, and it's called book schema, what we're basically doing, semicolon there. Now we did module dot exports mongoose dot model book, which is this one, you know, this is what we created, this entire thing, and this is the book schema. So now we could use it in our index.js file. Okay, so for our index.js file, where's our index.js file? So it's going to be over here somewhere there. We're going to do the, you know, the await function, and the await function is actually going to find that book. Okay, but before all of that, we'd actually need to import it up here on the top. Okay, next to this, next to the, before the application is created, but next after the connection of the DB. So we'd say const book, which is our model, is equal to require. Okay, and requiring from dot / models, which is our folder / book. Okay, so this is where our model is going to be created from, and all we're going to do here is we're going to try to get it, you know, where our route is. We're going to try to get the book route. So this is our first route. Remember, like I said, there were going to be 4 API endpoints. This is our first API endpoint. So what we're going to do is we're going to say const data is equal to await, and await, after that we're going to say book that we, you know, defined up on the top, dot find, and we're just going to say that we need all of the books. Okay, after that we're going to say response.json, and we're going to give the data there. Now of course, now there's a response.json, and the data is going to be displayed on the screen, and I guess that's pretty much it. I'm hoping, I'm not sure right now if this is totally clean, but if there's an error, so then I'm gonna have to look into this maybe for the next event, right? But let's just see if we are lucky. So we're gonna just go and, you know, open up a new terminal. Okay, does anyone know the command to open up your existing terminal? If you do, just write it down. Okay, so I see that there is some errors that happened, it crashed. But what we're going to do is we're going to go inside of the server again, cd server. And now over here, we're going to say npm run dev. Okay, it did crash. Starting node index.js, new schema. Okay, it says over here, schema is not a constructor. So, okay, we got an issue with the model. Book.js, and over here new schema, we got some issue over here. So what I would recommend is just leaving it out. I'm just gonna maybe do it a little later after this, and then we're gonna check it out. I just changed the name of the file. But yeah, of course there's gonna be some issues. Other than that, let's just look at the chats and about to conclude. Okay, so looking forward for the next session. Yeah, same here. Now please, next session. Looking forward to the next. Yep. Thank you very much. I was the second one introducing myself. I am loving this video. Thanks, man. Stick around with the channel. Keep supporting Coding Cleverly. I'd recommend checking out the Discord server and also the Patreon page. So it's actually patreon.com/codingcleverly. For those of you who would like to support, I would recommend checking out any of these tiers, and you would be unlocked with amazing exclusive stuff that's only allowed for my Patreon members. So just anyone could be an amazing thing. Just I'd recommend checking my Patreon page out as well. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day and keep coding. Okay. Peace out, guys. See you in the next session.